don't think tubing formulas are really my favorite. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you came over from Tom's channel or you are otherwise new here, hi, my name is Beth. I am a 37-year-old attorney living in the DC area with my husband. And for today's video, we are entering, I guess, the YouTube metaverse or YouTube inception, however you want to call it. So I reached out to Tom recently because I had seen some of their videos about becoming another YouTube creator. So I did want to mention up front that Tom is non-binary and their pronouns are they, them. So I just wanted to make sure I said that in case I slip up and I don't catch it in editing. But anyway, I had reached out to Tom and said that I admired their videos on this topic and asked if they would like to collab with me. And Tom graciously said yes, so here we are. So Tom and I will both be filming a similar video where we become another YouTube creator. And for today's video, that is going to be Kackie from Kackie Reviews Beauty. So I'm going to follow Tom's general approach to doing these videos, although I'm a little bit more OCD in terms of preparing. So I've already kind of shopped my stash and picked out the makeup items that I plan to use, and I have the video selected as well. I believe Tom will be following a different video, so hopefully these videos aren't too repetitive. And a quick note on the videos. So Kackie reviews a lot of products, but I did want to select a video where she was applying the makeup on camera, obviously. So it's not exactly a tutorial, it's more of a makeup playtime. So there may be some things that she does where she didn't enjoy the result, but we're just going to go along for the ride. All right, so I think that's enough of an introduction. I'll probably say more about Kackie along the way, but the first step in the transformation process is to pick out clothes in my wardrobe that reflect something that Kackie would wear. So I'll change and be right back. Okay, so I put on this top that I think is very similar to some that I've seen Kackie wear. I thought about wearing a striped sweater, kind of like she's wearing in the video I selected, but A, I thought that might make everyone go blind just looking at all the clashing stripes, and B, I do turn off my air conditioning when I film. So anyway, just for reference, this was kind of my other thought in terms of what I might have selected. And she has straight hair, she's a brunette, and as you can tell, I'm a natural blonde. I'm a little overdue for getting some highlights, but I am just going to kind of, I guess, tie my hair back. I did blow dry it straight today, but my hair is naturally wavy, as you might have seen in some of my other videos. So I got it fairly straight without flat ironing it or anything like that. And of course, for the piece de resistance, I don't know if she is wearing a headband in the, I think there's a little bit of fuzz, in the video I selected, but she is a huge fan of Lele Sadoughi, which is the brand behind these headbands, and so I wanted to break this one out that I got in a FabFitFun. So while I'm getting set up here, I did want to say that I think Kackie and Tom are both separately and together much cooler than I am. I do have some big Lele Sadoughi earrings I'll put on at the end, but I'm going to hold off on that while I'm still applying makeup. Kackie and I are about the same age. She now lives in New Jersey, but I think she's originally from Florida, or her parents or her mom is down there, and she lived in Austin for a time. I don't think I've ever been to Texas. My dad is actually from Florida, but as I said, I'm in the DC area now, and she's in New Jersey, so mid-Atlantic. And Tom also is in Pittsburgh, so we are all in the mid-Atlantic, I guess. And yeah, I think I'll just leave it there for the time being. All right, so you can see where I got the inspiration for the opening of this video.
Lips to the tip of the tongue.
Actually, do I want to...
What's up, guys? welcome back.
I'll scoot.
Today we're going to
way.
be doing a makeup playtime. I have gotten a lot of requests to do this kind of video, and I didn't even really know it was a video style. I've just heard Hannah talk a lot about it.
And since you did mention Hannah, I think I just wanted to say that Tom did a Becoming Hannah Louise Poston video, and I think that's how I found out about Tom, is that Hannah Louise Poston mentioned them in a video that she had seen this video. And yeah, I've been following Hannah for, gosh, I don't even know now, maybe a year or so, around there. And I think earlier this year started following Kackie and Tom. So they have been relatively new discoveries for me. I'm gonna pop on some lip oil while I'm jabbering here.
How she does it on her own time. I do it on my own time. But mainly I wanted to use this as an opportunity, or just like a category of video, to revisit everything that I reviewed this month as kind of a nice recap, and try something different with the products than I achieved in the initial review. So I have the Isabella palette sitting here. I have the Anastasia palette sitting here. I have all the new stuff that I got from Victoria Beckham Beauty. I also am kind of filling in a little bit with some new things that I'm getting my head around for other videos, so we'll touch on those as well. But mainly, like, I think the whole idea is just that we don't really know where it's going yet.
Oh, I forgot one crucial part of the Becoming process, I guess, and that is to select a perfume that Kackie would most likely enjoy. So she has said in she's talked about perfumes in several videos, but I know that in one in particular, she mentioned that Fresh Life is her kind of signature scent, maybe. So Fresh Life is a sensual citrus fragrance that conjures the freshness of a clear blue sky, sweet morning air, sparkling sun, and velvety water. So I've never smelled Fresh Life. I checked my samples to see if I had one. But basically it's a citrus, might have some aquatic notes, I guess. So anyway, so I went ahead and pulled this sample of Zest by BlueHill Fragrances. I did a whole video going into all of their different fragrances because I got a little sampler kit. And this is a New England-based fragrance house, niche fragrance house. So this says it's a blend of bright, zesty citrus, a joyous cocktail of Italian bergamot, lime essence, sweet orange, fresh cut lemon, neroli, and tangy grapefruit. So again, don't know how similar it is to Fresh Life, but I thought going with a citrus fragrance was probably a safe bet. And I said in that video that the whole BlueHill Fragrances, especially some of their perfumes, kind of gave me the coastal grandmother vibes, and I know that is an aesthetic that Kackie is into. She also talks about herself being, I forget how she phrased it, but somehow like summer, like art teacher off duty or something like that. Like she has an art degree. She does a lot of great paintings, including the one that you can see behind her, and she sells those I think through Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. So if you'd like to check out any of her artwork, you can go and check it out there.
I just know I want to look like a smoke show by the end of it, you know? So yeah, I hope that this is what you guys had in mind when you were requesting this kind of video, but let's go ahead and jump in. So I already have some SkinCeuticals moisturizer on, and I have my Tula Mineral Magic SPF on. All
right, so in terms of skincare, I did use the Glossier, what is this called? After Balm Moisture Barrier Recovery Cream. It's a really nice kind of emollient moisturizer, and I do have dry skin, I think like Kackie. I'm not sure if her skin is as dry as mine. I guess talking about skin type, I mean, I get, you know, eczema, I have some up here, you know, blemishes, that kind of thing. But getting older is no joke. Okay, yeah, so anyway, I applied this today, so feeling pretty hydrated. And then on Kackie's recommendation, I did also purchase this Tula Mineral Magic Sunscreen once upon a time, so I'll go ahead and apply that. Of course, I'm trying to apply on a very moisturized hand. and I'm guessing that's about enough. So I'll go ahead and apply it to half my face. Let me just cheat you just a little bit there. Yeah, so if you can tell in the picture, Kackie is similar to my skin tone, but I think she is a tad deeper and maybe a tad more, I'm just getting it in the hair, a tad more warm toned. So I mentioned in a video that I've been enjoying this. I mean, I think it looks good under makeup and everything, or just by itself, but I think, of course, my skin gets red when I rub it. I don't know, I think it ever so slightly kind of deepens my skin tone. Because of that, I've been reaching a little bit more for this Summer Fridays one, just because it does have a color to it, so that should help avoid, you know, white cast on most skin tones, but it doesn't look like it deepens my complexion either. All right, so don't use me as a reference for how to apply sunscreen, but anyway. So there's the Tula, and I think we're going on. So she's about to pull the Chanel No. 1 foundation, which I don't have, but I think I have a similar foundation that I know she has, and I also know that she uses the shade Mont Blanc. So I had purchased both this one and the Oslo shade. I tend to reach more for Oslo, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this today. So we'll see how it looks on me, but I believe this is the shade that Kackie uses. This is a sort of medium buildable coverage foundation. This one is supposed to have light reflecting properties, that's the name, and the Chanel, I believe, is kind of luminous in finish. So
I'm going to be using the No. 1 de Chanel Red Camellia Revitalizing Foundation today in B10. It's just been my favorite for the coverage level that I want, the finish that I want. Summer skin, kind of halfway between being dry and being a little bit sweaty. It's just a really, really good foundation for everything that I need right now. That's the Chanel.
Okay, so she kind of edited out a bit there, and it looks like she's using the Rare Beauty foundation brush, which is kind of on my list of ones to try. I have this is their concealer brush, which I believe is the same shape as the foundation brush, just smaller. So I am just going to use my Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. Just a couple things I see so far that are different from what I would normally do. Normally, I might apply another layer of like a hydrating primer depending on how my skin is feeling. It feels pretty good because, you know, I went in with a pretty emollient moisturizer and the sunscreen. So I'm not sure exactly how much she used. Yeah, I think in some foundations, like Kackie and I might use the same one, kind of depending on how like coverage it is. We both have freckles, as you can see. Yeah, so normally I would also apply like a corrector underneath my eyes. Yeah, so just a tad less than optimal, I would say, in terms of the shade match, but that's totally fine. I could have used my, I guess, more ideal shade, but I just figured I would use this one since I do have her shade, so you can kind of see, I guess. And on that note, Kackie does a really good job with her videos and kind of talking about like what may work for one person may not work for another. So this isn't, it's looking a little streaky actually. I might have to grab my beauty blender. These videos, at least for me, are, I would say, more of an homage rather than, you know, following a tutorial where you know someone has a totally different makeup style than you do, and if not botching it on purpose, then at least going in with maybe humorous intentions. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of blend that out a little bit with this dampened beauty blender. Settle down a tad. Normally I do apply this foundation, albeit in a different shade, with the beauty blender, because I'm just usually going for kind of more light coverage, but I do want my makeup to look decent today because I am going to a birthday dinner for my mother and sister-in-law. So my mother and sister-in-law are both Virgos. This is kind of more for Kackie's benefit than any of you perhaps, because I know she's really interested in astrology. So yeah, so they are both Virgos. I don't know if she talks about astrology in this video in particular, but they are both Virgos. I'm an Aries, like Kackie. I think Kackie's an early April baby as well. So I am Aries, and I was actually born on my dad's birthday, so we're both Aries. My moon is in Scorpio. My husband is a Sagittarius. My brother is a Pisces, I think. And I did ask my mom at one point, like, what exact time I was born, because I wanted to look up my star chart. I think you can figure out your moon based on where you were born and when, but you need the exact time for like other things. I don't know. I just kind of find it interesting. I'm not obviously as well informed as Kackie is, but yeah, my mom was just like, and also, so I was born in Germany because my dad was stationed over there, and I have my birth certificate is the like certificate of citizen born abroad or something like that from the Department of State. And I don't know if I ever got like another birth certificate, or if I did, I don't know where it went. Obviously being in the military, we moved a fair few times. I'd asked my mom if she knew like where my original birth certificate was. She was just like, you know, I'm not gonna go digging through boxes. You can find your star chart. Oh boy. I do definitely take after my dad in terms of being kind of a pack rat. My mom is very much like, you know, declutter all the way. All right.
And I'm gonna go in with my Kosas concealer. Now, is this new? Absolutely not. But like, I picked this back up out of my collection, kind of shopped it out of my stash for the first time in a really long time this month, and like haven't been able to put it down.
Okay, so she's going in with the Kosas concealer, which I do have. And again, I have the shade that she's using, I believe, which is 1.5. Yeah, which is this one. So I also have it in the shade 0.5N. So I know this is Amanda Z's favorite concealer. I like it, but Kosas has just not really worked out for me too well in terms of shades. I did do a video comparing this Kosas concealer to the Wet n Wild, which I think has a better shade match for me. I think the new Too Faced concealer is also kind of a similar idea.
I just like forgot how satisfying it is to have this lightweight level of coverage, and it's just so perfected looking. Not even because I'm just like, oh, those are imperfections and they're wrong. It's like, no, it's just because I'm going to put effort into the rest of my look, and I feel like sometimes those things can be distracting looking if I'm really exaggerating another part of my face. So sometimes you just want to look snarched, you know?
Okay, so she's using the same brush that she used for the foundation. I guess that blends okay. I think underneath the eyes, I might use the Rare Beauty. I mean, she's just more, I guess, less precise with that, but I think I do need a smaller brush to get in there, so. And ironically, yeah, she was talking about how, I think later in this video, how, you know, like watching Jackie Aina use her finger to apply shadow to the inner corner. She's like, I can't do that. I can't get a finger in there. This is kind of a nice little, almost fingertip shape of a brush. So I think she's basically using kind of concealer, getting it over her eyes as well, kind of like a primer. Usually I use a dedicated primer. Okay, so that's where we are now.
So this is the Prism Libre from Givenchy, and did I get influenced? Yes, I did. Of course I did, by my good friend Amanda Z. She was just like, this is so beautiful. And also, I think Hannah had her eye on this.
I just wanted to quickly say, I always find it interesting how you have these like almost like micro social circles of YouTubers where it's like how many degrees of connection. Like I think all of the YouTubers she just mentioned have less than 100,000 subscribers, which is, you know, not a lot by like YouTube standards. But yeah, you start to hear one person talk about one person and mention them and whatever. I've been following Amanda Z for a while as well. I don't know if I found out about her through Kate the Great. I can't recall. But yeah, anyway, she kept saying Kackie, and I'm like, who's this Kackie person? And finally I figured out it was Kackie Reviews Beauty. And that's one reason why I always like link the channels I mentioned in my description box, because, you know, I just want people to be able to find other creators. So she's using the, I think this is a Givenchy powder, but she also, I think, mentions the Guerlain. So I have the pressed, and I also have a little sample of the, like, you know, loose balls. I think I might just use the pressed just for ease of application here.
And so it is this little 4 containers, comes in a lot of shades, but this is like the fairest, kind of most neutralizing one for my skin tone. And it's a blue, a green, a pink, and a purple. And it's all these powders that you just kind of like, you know, swirl together. You know, you think of it as maybe like the meteorites from Givenchy, from Guerlain or something like that. And it's just, it's very like aesthetically pleasing the way that it looks when you pour it out in the pan, because you get all the colors.
So I think she's using this BK103 brush. It looks like it anyway. And I know she does like a lot of BK brushes. So I'm just swirling, and I think we're just kind of...
And then it's just a lovely kind of neutralizing texture as well. A little bit of luminosity to it, but it's not like the meteorites. They're a little bit shimmery. It's a little, I don't know, it's the thing is I'm gathering my feelings on it. I like the color, I like what the color does, but I have not decided whether I like the texture of it
so
yet. It might be a little too mattifying.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, like she's trying some products that she may not ultimately love, so this isn't really a tutorial, but that is how it's looking on my skin. They seem to have lost some coverage. I mean, this blemish has just been in an awkward spot because it's all like where the cheek products go. This powder, by the way, it does have that Guerlain kind of violet scent, so if you are not into scented makeup, you will not enjoy that.
I did end up getting this. This is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Perfector. I really thought that it was like an effect that they were putting on the image on the Sephora website that made it look like, oh, it's shifting in the light. You know, no, it's actually a gradient. So it's like you have highlight, yellow gold bronze, and then like neutral, which is, you know, kind of like a contour.
So she's using another product I don't have. This is the, is it Skin Perfector? I have the Skin Enhancer. But just based on the description, it sounded like the Say loose powder could be kind of similar because it's kind of a radiance powder, and it does have kind of a little bit of color to it. So I'm just going to use this. I don't feel like I need more powder necessarily, but here we go.
And I find the way I prefer to use this, because I did try and use it as like a bronzer at first, it's actually better on me as like a really easy, almost like intelligent, like smart contour, where it's like I put it on and it just contours where I need it, and I don't have to like draw individual like lines on my face and worry about blending them too much. It's like the perfect bronzer basically.
I'm not sure if that did much, but it's the best I could come up with. It's kind of a unique product from Mario.
Do you see how that's just like, you didn't see any lines going on my face, but it's just something that kind of does it without showing its work. Isn't that wild? And you're really technically supposed to use that with this. And I'm going to, because I am going to be working back up to using the Victoria Beckham cream blush.
Okay, so here she's going in with the Skin Enhancer with the BK101 brush. This is the brush I usually use to kind of blend out my contour, like the KVD. I think I might also use it with this product. I've been using this kind of as a easy, light kind of contour product. So it looks like she's just kind of stamping it on the cheek.
Here I have the okay, here we go. Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in Light. So these are all in light. I now have all of his bronzers in light because I believe in him, okay? I just believe in his ability to make a bronzer that really, really works on me. And this is like a two-step one-way ticket to smoke show land, because like I'm already just looking like I just got off of like vacation, right? It's just giving me this like healthy, not overdone kind of glow. I don't really know how to explain it. I think it's because none of it is too warm.
So one thing I did want to mention, I found it interesting that I just did that whole Patrick Ta, full face of Patrick Ta, essentially using the new foundation. And I was talking a lot in that video about how a lot of Patrick's products are kind of dual formula. So they have like a cream side and a powder side. And I was kind of playing with, you know, order of application and what goes on what, how you apply and that kind of thing. So I found it really interesting that she's going back and forth between creams and powders. I don't know if she says it in this video or if it was another video, but yeah, like when you're kind of stamping a cream on, you're more likely to be successful than, you know, trying to blend it, because then you're more likely to disrupt what's going on underneath. And yeah, another thing I found interesting is that she will reuse a brush for like multiple steps in her routine. I'm not sure how often she cleans her brushes or if she runs into any issues with that, or if it just doesn't matter because whether some of the like cream bronzer she uses mixes with the cream blush she uses, like if it really matters. I did just wash my brushes last night so that I would have kind of clean brushes and I could use them however she was using them. And side note, these brushes, so I washed them last night. They were still a tiny bit damp this morning. I have a Dyson hairdryer and I put it on maximum air but no heat, and I just kind of blow dried the bristles and it worked great. So if you need to use your makeup brushes and they're still a little bit damp, you can try doing that. I wouldn't recommend maybe doing it from like fully wet, like try to get them 80 or 90% dry. On that note, Kackie, I think was a hairstylist in the former life, so she doesn't do a lot of hair things on her channel, but
this kind of is where he starts to cross over into Patrick Ta territory of just making a really, really sheer color that works so well for bringing powdered skin back to looking like skin and makes you think differently about how to apply your makeup. We're into something that I actually used this month that I'm really actually enjoying and not getting as much use out of as I would like, just because I've been trying so many new things. And this is Cheeky Posh from Victoria Beckham in Fame.
Okay, so I don't have that product from Victoria Beckham. I don't have, I think, well, I take it back. I tried her mascara, which I did not like. So she's on my list of things to try, but I do have another cream blush, not in a stick form, but this I think is a fairly close color match to Fame. So I think LYS describes this as like a rosy mauve, maybe. Same brush. She's calling it Intense Lilac.
Such a pretty color. It's like this beautiful lilac. Like it's like a intense lilac. See? Ooh, yes. But with all
Kackie
the
does like her blush.
I don't really feel like I want to go just absolutely crazy with blush, because I feel like it already is a bit of a blush, you know? I just kind of want a nice little hint of something healthy. This is a very, very dry formula.
I'd say this is also a fairly dry cream formula. One of the other, or two of the other options I pulled were the, so I'll go ahead and swatch this. Yeah, so, I mean, this is not a brand new blush to me, so I'm not sure if a newer one would be a little bit more emollient. So I also pulled this Milani cream blush palette. I thought either of those two shades on the end could possibly be similar, but this is, I think you can tell, a lot more emollient. You can see the level of reflect. And the one other product, in case you have it, the Fenty blush in the shade Cool Berry, which might be a little bit deeper. Yeah. So that was the one I applied from LYS. There's a lot more purple in that one. Yeah, so Kackie is really great talking about like color theory. She's been saying a lot lately that she is I think she's a soft autumn. I want to say I might be a soft summer from what I recall. So yeah, we're not twins.
Now, Something that people said that they wanted to see out of the Izumaya palette was more use of the greens. Now I did one on my Instagram that is green. Like I used literally every green in the palette on my eyes. You know, you can go to my Instagram, hey Kackie, and look at that one. But I'm still gonna play in the greens today. We're just probably going to be a little bit more tame with it.
So she's breaking out the Izumaya palette, which I don't have. Tom may be featuring it in their video. But I do have the Anastasia Nouveau palette, which she shifts to pretty quickly here. So I'm just gonna let her apply this Izumaya shade.
Even though compared to the rest of them, it's not necessarily like reading as green. I think that this is where I'm gonna start. I have a feeling I'm going to have trouble kind of building color saturation with this that's believable and looks nice on my skin, so I'm probably gonna have to like dip into the Anastasia palette or something to get a little more richness, because this palette is just a little bit spooky, okay? That's what it is. It's supposed to be, you know, this kind of industrial goth sort of thing, and it's a vibe. And it's a little difficult to get out of that vibe sometimes unless you just want to work with like one shadow. Like it's gonna look the way that it looks. So let's see how far we can get with this while still staying in my self-designated smoke show area. I'm going to start with my 207 here, the Travel 207 from BK, and I'm dipping into this one, which is called Belt? Belt. Okay, called Belt. So yeah, it is reading more gray than anything else.
Okay, so Kackie is using the BK 207, which I think according to the BK website is like they call it like a pencil blender brush type thing. So I pulled the reference number 12. That looks to be a similar shape, although all of BK's brushes are synthetic, and this is I think, natural hairbrush. And while we are here, so I don't know if you can tell, my eyelids are creasing. I don't know if Kackie deals with creasing much. I feel like my eyelids are the one place on my body that does get a little oily, let's say. And I'm also getting a tad bit of creasing underneath here, which is why I usually put some kind of shadow underneath. But before I blend eyeshadow over my eyelids, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more of this Guerlain powder, and this is the e.l.f. small tapered brush. Like I said, I do want the makeup to look good at the end of this, so I think Kackie would approve of me tweaking a few things to make it work for me. So she is using, how does Izumaya describe that shade? Don't think it says. I mean, it kind of looks like a mid-tone cool brown shimmer. All right, so just to get some of the same color and shape going on, I think I'm gonna use this shade from the Neutral Mattes palette from Viseart. This is a matte. She is using, I think, like I said, some kind of shimmer or metallic. So there's obviously nothing that says you have to, or you can't put shimmers in the crease. She talks a little bit more about kind of her, I mean, this is looking a lot darker already, how she kind of does eyeshadow for her eye shape. You know, I guess some of our concerns are the same when it comes to eyeshadow. She talks more about her eyes being more deep set and close together. I don't think mine are especially close together, but they are, I think, kind of more deep set and hooded. So I don't have as much real estate here as she does because my eyebrows, I haven't done anything to them yet other than kind of brush them through, but they're a little bit flatter. She has more of an angle to her brow, so she has more space here than I do. But I still like to, she talks about Wayne Goss later. I might have watched some of the same videos she did in terms of kind of tricking the eye and making things look nice and lifted. I might need to blend this out a little bit. Yeah, and she also talked about in a recent video about having kind of a matte cream or I guess white shade. This is the Sonia G Jumbo Blender, which is kind of my like eraser or airbrush tool, if you will. So I'm just kind of going around softening that a little bit. Yeah, so Kackie just did a video about, like, I don't know, her favorite quads or something like that, and she talked about I think this brush might have had some shimmer on it still. This was one I didn't wash because I didn't think I was going to need it. But yeah, how she likes having a shade kind of like this to back herself out of trouble if she needs to. Which I totally agree with. And I also use a shade like that to kind of set my primer sometimes. I know Tara Lynn has said that, you know, she on the other hand doesn't like when a quad or whatever, you know, devotes one of the shades to a matte cream because you have fewer shades, you want to kind of make them count. So I can see both sides, but personally with my skin tone it is helpful. In fact, I had made a custom quad of ABH singles and you can see that I did use that shade quite heavily. It's not quite hit pan, but it could.
Where do we want to go with this? I just don't think Izumi is the mood that I'm in today. It is an entire mood. It's an entire mood, and sometimes that's just not the mood. But we are going to go green, so I am going to go, with Hope from the Anastasia palette. See, and it's just such a more tame color story. Everything's just kind of muted down because it's just a different vibe. It's a whole different story.
Now we're going into the ABH palette, and I did a swatch video. I showed you in that my Hope shade was, I don't know, a little kind of messed up, and swatching in general just kind of destroys shadows. So, all right, so she's actually taking her middle finger. I don't think it matters too much. All right, so that is the shade Hope, and put this on the eyelid. I'll also say here, just in terms of observing how we do things differently, I would probably not kind of go in with my finger, as I've said in some of my swatch videos. Like, again, my eyes are not kind of the most open or whatever, so usually, like, to get into the inner corner and everything, I will use a brush and then tap over the top with a finger to kind of build up the intensity a little bit.
It's funny because when I talk about this palette, I talk about how that black kind of annoys me because
Very
it's like
pretty
the
color,
darkest color in the palette. It's black, it's dark, it's really dark. Somebody called it navy. I think it's not navy. It's like very, very dark brown. But it is a palette that I end up reaching for a lot because I like the other colors in the palette so much, and because I'm not always looking for variety. You kind of find a comfort zone in a palette and you stick with it. And so this does have several comfort zones for me. It's just something that, like, the difference between like my personal use case and a review. And to me, that's kind of one of the most valuable things about a video like this, is revisiting that and, you know, giving you guys insight on how it's been working for me in my routine.
Okay, so she's going into Liberty now. And it looks like she's using the same BK brush. So again, this is kind of interesting because now we're going in with a matte.
So now I'm going into Liberty, which is this really pretty kind of soft olive. And I'm going to use that to build opacity in the crease where that shade from Izumi was just not giving me the kind of like believable contour that I wanted. Oh my gosh, the shift on Hope on brown eyes, come on! That's so good. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, I probably could have not used the Viseart shade in the crease because I think this would have done the trick. And like she said, she has brown eyes. I have, I'd say, blue-gray. Some days they look bluer than others. Yeah, and normally I like to kind of, I don't know, create the foundation for my eye look with matte shadows and then go over the top with the metallics or shimmers. I'm not saying one is better than the other, it's just, again, observing. All right, so I think from there we're using kind of a more fluffy BK brush. I might use this one. This is the 202. And what shade does she say she's using?
Okay, I'm going to take Fleur, which is this really lovely, very like washed out rosy color. I'm gonna put that here because it's going to pull a little bit of that color from my cheeks up into my eye look, and it'll make it look a lot more at home. Also, I did get a DM recently. Somebody said, you know, like, I know you've been accused in the past of basically doing the same format for your eyeshadow looks all the time, and asking if I had a video where I actually explained that, you know, like what the actual diagram would be, because just of the shape of my eyes. And really this diagram that I have developed for myself is derived mainly from certain videos that I watched of Wayne Goss talking about different eye shapes and how to flatter them with contour. But if you have deep set eyes that are, you know, pretty round.
Okay, so here she talks about her eye shape a little bit more, I think. So Fleur is another matte. Again, this is more of a transition color. And yeah, I think I normally apply my transition shade before I kind of deepen it. So let's see how this does.
I have pretty round eyes. They don't have any kind of like dip down or dip up or anything like that. They're just kind of round. They're close set, they're deep set, and they're small. So the main thing is I focus from about there to here, kind of like a quarter of the way in, a quarter of the way out, and like you can add more drama if you want, you know, on the outer side. That's where a really believable matte contour needs to be for me, in order to kind of obscure the fact that this is the edge of my eye. I would like it to just kind of disappear off into my eyelashes and make it look like my eye goes out a little bit further if I can. And like a lot of times it's not about drawing on a new eyelid, it's about just kind of obscuring it and blurring it and making it just like, oh, where did it go? Who knows, you know? And that's also why you'll see me, I pull my eyeliner straight out, because straight out on me does tend to still kind of look upwards for my eyes, but it elongates them, instead of if I were to actually do a really like exaggerated cat eye where it like, you know, curls up, you'd just be hyper aware of how small my eyes were. It would just look like a really, really strong terminus to the end of my eye, and it would just, you know, kill all the work that I had done.
She's talking about her eyeliner, so she, I think, speeds through it, so I'll say a little bit about it now. So yeah, I think, you know, my eyes are on the smaller side. I don't think they're maybe quite as round as hers. I've discussed various other differences, but she was saying like with her liner, she kind of takes it more out here. I like to kind of take it a little bit more diagonally, I think, because again, that kind of helps lift the eye. And, you know, that's more of my concern, was lifting the eye as opposed to just making them look further apart.
I then, for about this portion of my eye and never too far up, I use like a shimmer of some persuasion, typically something that either has a little bit of shimmer so that the light hits it, or if I'm doing an all matte look, I will do warmth on the lid, something relatively warm, because that's gonna pop towards you, and it just, again, helps that illusion of the eyelid looking very luxurious and large, right? And then I don't put anything really dark on this inner kind of quarter of my eye. I try to highlight that or just leave it kind of blank with, you know, regular face powder, because again, we're kind of softening the idea of where my eye begins and ends, and I would like them to look a little bit wider set if I could. I was not blessed with super wide set eyes.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering, like, because her eyebrows, like I said, are more lifted anyway than mine are, I wonder if that kind of helps, you know, the illusion of more lift, so she's not as concerned with creating that with the liner. And I might go a little bit higher with my like metallic lid shade, because I think my eyes are a little bit more hooded than hers. So I want you to be able to see, you know, some of that color when my eyes are open. I think Kackie's about 2 years younger than I am. She's my brother's age, actually.
That, and then when it comes to like up here, this is actually where most of my real estate is. A lot of people have, like, you know, you look at Tati or Ravi Christie or somebody, they don't have much right here. They'll have these huge eyelids, and if you're trying to mimic one of their looks on eyes like mine, it just doesn't work, because you're trying to like fiddle all this work into this tiny little area on the eyelid. And then up here, they don't really have to worry about that, because they just do like a brow highlight and they're done. And a lot of it's obscured by, you know, their eyelashes, because it's just, you know, their eyelashes cover so much of that. But for me, I'm kind of like Nikki Tutorials, where, you know, there's a lot of room here to do things. And so I do have to make sure that I have addressed that area and made it, again, a little warm, because you want it to kind of come forward.
I think she was the one who I first heard talk about like warm things coming forward, which is an interesting thing to keep in mind too.
And also that I don't take my brow highlight too low, because it will just kind of smush my eye. So I'm really careful to like push my brows up and keep my brow highlight really tight to my eyebrow and make sure that this gradient is pulled out almost onto my temple from up here, because again, we're taking the eye, we're using the real estate that we have to like make it look like they're a little bit bigger and wider set. So when you see me use a color like this, it's basically like if I were taking the, what would I call it, like a transition shade, but it's like a comfort zone shade, right? Of something that it's like I'm happy working with that and I don't feel like it's ever gonna be too much. And then I don't mind like working on top of it with a crease shade or with my brow highlight or something, but like I bring it almost all the way. Like my brush is almost all the way up to my eyebrow there, because you almost always end up with like a little bit of product left on your brush. And you see I'm like literally pulling it onto like the side wall of my face, because there's just so, I have huge temples. Massive temples. I just have a lot of room from here to here, you know? And it's all about kind of like understanding your face and also kind of what you're trying to go for. But I mean, if you look at somebody even like Kylie Jenner, her eyes are not as big as you think they are. They're not, and they're also pretty close set. And she manages to make them look enormous, and it's a lot of just shadow and light trickery. So I just kind of observe. I observe as I go, and that's kind of the diagram of it for me. So now we have done kind of the outer edge. I'm probably gonna do more. And then up here, and then I've also done kind of my main color, right, on my eyelids. And when I do something that is darker on my eyelids like this, that isn't just like, you know, playing right into my natural skin tone, I will usually also take it down underneath my eyes, because again, I have tons of real estate. Between my cheeks and my eyes, I have tons of real estate. I think it's about to storm. And it makes it easy and also very flattering to take something like Hope, which is, you know, the shade that I have on my eyelids.
All right, so she's taking, she's about to tell you, a Sephora brush, and I have my little rougher number 3, which I think is a little bit more pointed. So she's going back into Hope, which generally I use probably just a matte underneath the eyes. So just do this. Taking a little bit of Hope and putting it under my eyes. I'm using the Sephora 18 brush, another thing that was influenced directly by Amanda. But it's so nice, it's such like a perfect little ball. I don't know if you would say I have a huge amount of real estate. I mean, it's enough, I guess, but yeah. And usually like underneath the eyelids, the lower lash line, I will use the flat definer brush, because I want a bit of definition generally, but I don't want it to be too heavy looking. I feel like that can be kind of aging sometimes. Like I said, I like to put something underneath this, but I guess like Kackie said, we are going, it is Operation Smoke Show.
She's smoky. Okay, so I didn't realize this was going to go into tutorial mode, but here we are. Do you see how my eyes look really flipping round right now? They look really round. And there is not a shade really in this palette or in the Isomea palette that's going to give me the most believable outer shadow. You know? Like I'm using Liberty right now. It's not giving me the illusion that I want. So it's like, I need something that's like really, that's what I always go for. I'm not even sure that it's that cool tone. It's just like a really good kind of like washed out brown made from the Monochromance palette from Hindash, okay? He just knows what he's doing.
All right, so now she's using a Hindash palette, which I don't have. I mean, I don't feel like I need more depth in my outer corner, maybe because I used that Viseart shade. The shade that she's using looks to be kind of like a I don't know, kind of a mucky, ochre type color. I don't know if I can think of anything offhand that I have that's like that. Looks like she's also using the same little Sephora brush kind of in the corner. I think I might just skip this step, to be honest.
And it just adds the slightest believable shadow right there. And I will also, I think I'm gonna use the fairest shade there, Alter, and just blur right on top of everything.
Yeah, so I think here she's kind of using a fluffy brush. I think that's a matte shade as well. I don't think I really need to. Maybe I'll just take some of this just to kind of add some warmth back in. I feel like that, was it Liberty shade? Kind of, maybe I over blended it.
It's so important to kind of understand the nature of different formulas, because like knowing that I can take something like a pale cream colored shadow in Hindash's palette and put it all over the top of everything, and that it's not gonna just like kill the local color that I've worked for because his formula is so sheer, makes a huge difference. This is also kind of I'm drunk with power on the whole like makeup playtime thing because I'm pulling from 3 different palettes right now. And I also want to replace a little bit of Hope, just a little bit. I got a little bit of hope, like a soap on a rope, sweeter than sour, getting thinner by the hour, falling fast, and I'm running out of gas.
All right, so we're going in for more Hope. Yeah, and like I said, this is not quite a tutorial, so you know there is a lot of going back and forth and seeing how things look and layer and that kind of thing. So just...
This is number 2 Space Age Star Surfer from Kaleidos. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What? That is a very interesting highlight right there. It's a little bit pink, it's a little bit icy, and it's a little bit weird, and we're gonna go for it. Actually, this was a trick that I shared on my Instagram, and somebody was like, why don't you just use some Fix Plus? You're not supposed to do that because you might get an eye infection. Fine, I'm not coming to your house and licking your makeup, but you take it and you wet it, and this is just the one that's on the end of my Victoria Beckham one. I have put way too much on there. And you just tippity tap that in there, and it gives you much better precision application that doesn't get everywhere, especially when you have really deep set eyes like I do.
Okay, before we move on to that, so she says that she's using like it's a Kaleidos highlighter that I don't have. So this is a trick I heard her talk about where she takes the like sponge tip of an eyeliner and then wets it. I think I might go with this Natasha Denona Super Glow in 1. I don't know that it's gonna have quite the same dimension, but it is what readily comes to mind.
Have you ever seen Jackie Aina reach her pinky in and do it? I'm like, I do not have the real estate to be sticking my pinky. I don't have room for my pinky in there. Like, that's just not gonna happen.
I'm not sure whether this Natasha Denona formula is really meant to be wet, but yeah. I mean, there's definitely kind of a bald spot on my inner corner. Yeah, I'm not totally convinced this is the right color or right formula to do this with, but I think technique-wise, it really is interesting. I also, my inner corners are not quite symmetrical either. Like, this one has a little bit of skin that comes down more.
You know what I think this needs? I think this needs Starlight from VB. Just a little bit. Bring it back into like a little bit of gold territory. Just smash it all together, you know? Smash it. Oh man. Starlight on brown eyes, okay? Okay?
All right, and I also don't have the Victoria Beckham product that she has. I pulled 2 of these Tarte, what are these called? Chrome paints that I think they might be discontinuing. So she calls this more of a gold, but based on the pictures and I think some swatches, it seems to have kind of more of an old gold, like olivey gold almost. I guess it looks fairly gold. I thought I might also compare this to Top Yacht. So I think Tarte is kind of phasing these out. Top Yacht is more of a champagne. A little bit too much pink, maybe. Maybe if I blend them together. And these are kind of one of those like loose textures where it has the little stopper and everything. So quite a few brands make a product like this. Again, I haven't experienced the Victoria Beckham formula, but from what I can tell. Yeah, definitely add some more gold. I think I might have preferred the color of just the ABH, but a little bit more blue in it. Okay, so I think I did get a tiny little bit of fallout. And then I think she's using the MAC Fix Plus Radiance here. And I just have a little sample. So I'm not super optimistic about how good the sprayer is going to be, but the normal MAC Fix Plus sprayer is not terrific either, so.
I'm going to do one of these first. Magic Radiance.
Okay, so she's starting off by filling in her brow. She's using the Kosas one. I think I will just use my Benefit because I don't have the Kosas. This is in the shade 2.5. This is another thing I don't normally do. I've kind of talked about it before. She has pretty full brows, but she kind of takes her time filling them in. Maybe it's because she's a brunette, like there's more of a contrast between her brow hairs and her skin. All right, so here she's taking the Victoria Beckham eyeliner in Cocoa. I have two brown eyeliners that I pulled. One is the Mario in, what is this? The Perfect Brown, and this one is Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Coal in Barbarella Brown. I think I might use this one. So what I normally do is I kind of take it from the inner corner and draw it out and then smudge it. It looks like she's kind of actually taking it from the outer corner in. So sometimes what I do is I'll take a little angled brush like this. This is the BK208, and I'll kind of run it along the eyeliner to pick up some product. It looks like what she's doing though is, I guess, just kind of taking whatever is on the skin already and just kind of flicking it out, maybe? And then she's going in with the Kosas Brow Gel, and naturally she's using her Thrive Mascara. So I have the Kosas Brow Gel. I think I have a different shade than she does. Obviously, I'm using the shade Taupe. Yeah, normally this is all I use. I don't fill them in as well. She's speeding through this, so I'm missing some things. I think she curled her eyelashes. So I have my Rephr lash curlers, and I do have the Thrive mascara, but I think it might be past prime. I can't recall if I ever used this or not. Like, it's still in the box, and I have this little sample that I probably got in like a BoxyCharm or Ipsy or something. So I know for a fact, because it's still in the package, I have the Maybelline Sky High mascara, which is another tubing formula. And I was just watching a video where State of Kate was saying that this kind of builds in the same way that the Thrive does, and she likes this one, so I'm gonna trust her on that and use it. Oh, this is much more flexible. I forgot about that. Yeah, so it's very flexible, but the general shape, I think, is kind of similar to the Thrive. I don't know, there's a little bit of flexibility there. I don't know if there's a reason why tubing formulas tend to take that shape sometimes, but I think she's also using like a brown black formula color. I don't think I saw her do her lower lashes. I usually use the Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara, especially if I'm putting, you know, obvious shadow on my lower lash line. Yeah, I don't think tubing formulas are really my favorite.
Alright, so I forgot about something, and that is that I bought a lip gloss when I bought all the stuff from Anastasia to try with the palette, and I loved it so much that I just immediately took it with me in the car, and then I lost it between my car seats, and I finally found it again. And I've made 2 different reels about how sparkly this lip gloss is, but I'm going to be using this today to show you guys. And this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amber Sparkle Lip Gloss. It is absolutely the most glittery thing I've ever put on my lips, and it is enchanting. So this is my lip liner in Kackie, guaranteed to make me feel like a smoke show. Make this go viral on TikTok.
So I don't have her lip liner, unfortunately. I don't even know what I'm doing, thinking I'm becoming Kackie without it, but I do have the Charlotte Tilbury in Iconic Nude, which is a nude lip liner, obviously. I think her lip liner is a little bit more of a mocha color. But I think this is probably as close as I have. And I think, I know, I don't think she does her her Cupid's bow. I think hers is even more pronounced than mine is. I think maybe hers is wider. But I think she just likes to go around the edges. Usually I fill mine in. And she's using another product. I don't have the ABH gloss, but I thought like the Pat McGrath Opulust formula might be kind of similar. Specifically these 2 shades I thought maybe combined would be close to this. So this is Naked Rose and Dreamscape. So I think I'm gonna go in with Naked Rose first. This might be more opaque. Reads a little bit more metallic than just like super glittery.
Y'all ready? Smells like vanilla. So right when you push your lips together, you can really feel the glitter, and the glitter kind of comes to the surface, but as it just kind of like chills on your lips, it just takes on this really lovely sheen of its own, and then the glitter kind of sinks back, and it's just this really, really beautiful illusion of like plumpness, and it doesn't have any plumping properties to it. There's nothing uncomfortable, there's nothing minty.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think these lip glosses are as close as I'd hoped maybe. I think they're more opaque. So she's using the Kosas powder and I think the fluffy brush again. I'm talking about how she doesn't really think the Givenchy is worth it.
I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm actually just gonna use my Kosas powder because this is just easier. And I am still not sold. I'm not completely sold on the Givenchy being worth that astounding price when something like the Kosas exists.
All right, for me, I don't know that I feel like I need to do any kind of cleanup, but we'll just kind of follow along.
I still never ended up even doing a brow highlight. Yep, something's missing and her name is Blush. Yeah, I'm going to include final thoughts in this video on kind of how my feelings have or have not changed since using these things for longer since I initially reviewed them. Now we need to decide what blush I want to use. Why is it always you? It's always you, isn't it? It's always Flirtatious from Pat McGrath. You know what? It's because it's great, okay? Okay?
So here it looks like she's taking Flirtatious and it might be this BK 105, maybe?
She'll never upstage you. She'll never steal the show. She will only ever make you look better than when she found you. Let's use some.
And she's kind of just going all over, really. I find that a little bit of a stiffer brush I think does work with this formula. pick it up. It's almost, I don't know if it's the embossment or just the formula that makes it a little bit kind of more pressed.
Isamaya brow gel here. This is like some of the fastest brow gel I've ever used. My hair, stop it. Easy peasy. And I didn't even use a little tail in it that time. You can really, I mean, you can get any old shape you want out of your brows with this stuff.
So now she's going with like I guess the Isamaya brow gel. I'm gonna just use this little Benefit one, and I can't say I normally apply like a clear brow gel on top of a tinted one, but why not? I'm not sure if she usually uses this many brow products either.
Now, because I used the Makeup by Mario bronzer, I feel like I didn't do a specific contour. So I am going to do a specific contour moment to give me the snatch effect that I truly want. Where's my daggum gosh darn diddling brush? From Fred Siegel. This is the Beauty Pie. It's a Beauty Pie brush. It's a Beauty Pie brush. They did just send me some of their new bronzers though, and that made me really happy. I need to try those soon. That looks a little bit dark. I think that I can use a little bit of the Makeup by Mario and just blendy. I'm kind of like turning into Tati, aren't I? More is more, but like that was the look today. I like doing lots of different looks. I like having many different, oh no, oh, that's valuable to know. This was the wrong brush to use for that because look what it did. When I picked this up, the highlight's on the top. So it's like almost.
Okay, so she did a couple things here. I think she went in with a Natasha Denona contour, but then kind of backtracked on that, and then she went with the Mario Skin Perfector. Didn't like the brush with that.
Maybe that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to like distribute your highlight, your bronzer, and your contour all like that. If that's what it's supposed to do, I hate it. I hate that concept. That makes me so angry. Oh no. Come on, Pat McGrath for the win. That's so bad. Oh my god, I hate that.
All right, I'm just skipping this step since she's not liking it.
Why would it do, ugh, no. If what you're wanting is what I was describing, don't dip and tap like I did, swirl. Swirl it together because that was a disaster. That threatened to ruin everything that I had just worked for. And I still feel like the Givenchy didn't give me enough like nice brightness and mattification under my eyes. Enough blur, really. Blur is what I want. Maybe if I just applied a whole bunch more of it, I probably would, but there's something about opening a compact that's so much easier than like pulling out that thing and unscrewing the lid and tapping it out and swirling it together. It's just like, bleh, you know? I am extremely muddy because of that moment. I'm gonna give my cheeks one more spritz because I'm gonna use just regular Fix Plus. I'm getting high maintenance here. Maybe that's why this is called Makeup Playtime, because it doesn't always go right. Yeah, trying that new Makeup by Mario, like that threw things off at the end. I now have this like awkward highlight right here that I was not anticipating. And I'm looking real muddy mucky on my cheeks. Oh, that's not the vibe. Shocking, shocking disaster at the last second. I just ended up looking way more made up than I meant to. I was going for made up, but like that's cakey. I didn't know that it was going to like literally distribute an icy white highlight on my cheek like that. I hate it. I'm not saying it's a bad product, I'm just saying like that was an unfortunate turn of events. And I'm glad that I was able to show it to you guys because it's just makeup and I can wash it off, but it might make a difference as to whether or not you want to buy it. So let's touch real quickly on final thoughts as it pertains to every product I just put on my face and whether or not my feelings have changed on them recently. The Kosas, I'm coming back around to it. Again, it's like that level of coverage and the way that it cooperates with the Kosas powder, like they really are a dynamic duo. They were meant to be, and just the way that it blurs everything, it makes everything that it touches looks younger, you know? know, because it's got that caffeine in it and everything. So yeah, big fan, and glad that I pulled this back out, because this is 1.5C and I've been a lot more into complexion matches as far as under eye concealer and stuff, less the, you know, uber bright look. And I'm really glad that I kind of switched shades, because it made me fall back in love with this formula.
Just about the Kosas concealer, I mean, I talked about it earlier, but I don't know, like, I think, you know, the full face of makeup, especially with the foundation shade, it looks okay. Usually I use a corrector underneath my eyes, and I might go in for a lighter shade. That's usually my preference. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the skin tone match for me.
This continues to be exactly what I expect it to be, and that is the cream one. It's just this beautiful, sheer, kind of balmy formula that makes skin look like skin again and applies just complaintlessly on top of, you know, any texture. Bare skin, powder, what have you. Obviously tap, don't like buff this on over powder, but it's really intuitive to use.
Yeah, I have become a huge fan of this. Really do like it.
My feelings will never change on Flirtatious from Pat McGrath unless she discontinues it, in which case I will disown her forever. I'm just kidding. This is such a good color and such a good formula, and I will pan it, and I'm just on my way to like destroying this package. I love this stuff so much. I love it. Mwah.
Yeah, and I like this color and I like this formula. I just wish the packaging were a little bit different. I think I said in my like review of these when they came out. Because otherwise, where did I put it? I ended up keeping the boxes because it has the name of the shade on the top, and I have, I think, 3 or 4 different blushes now. So it just, you know, is a lot easier, I think, to see that than the tiny name of the shade on the back. So that's my biggest beef with these.
The ABH palette, like I said, the feelings that have changed here are that from a review standpoint, yes, I think that some users might want to get their head around the fact that there are not a lot of medium shades in this, because if you are, especially if you're like a deep skin tone, you really only have one option, and that is to like mix that deep color in with other things, and it's sort of a one-trick pony. It kind of takes over. But if you're complected like me, and you're probably not going to use that color that much, and the rest of them like really appeal to you, you're gonna find some really strong comfort zones in here. I still had to pull out something. I had to pull out the Hindash palette, which I don't mind doing, but like I still had to like get the look that I was going for as far as like the outer corner contour and everything. I'm used to doing that, but again, I just want to say this isn't a perfect palette, but I found my groove with it, and some of these shades, especially the shimmers like Hope and Lele, keep me coming back to it over and over again, because they're just unbelievable and really great on brown eyes, you know? The Isomea brow gel, you guys saw how quickly that happened. This is great. Again, it's like the difference between the Givenchy and the Kosas, where, you know, I'm looking at these two things and I'm going, well, which one am I going to pull out? The performance so far is equal enough. I might still like Kosas more, that like, just the thought process of like, I'm gonna pop open a compact versus unscrewing and like taking all the steps to dispense this onto my face, I'm always gonna go Kosas. That's how I feel about the Isomea in comparison to something like, you know, a brow gel that, I don't know, like the Refi or something like that, where it's like kind of gluey, and I'm gonna probably have to get too much of it on in some places, and it's gonna pull stuff off and things like that. Like the fact that I tap this on to the top of my eyebrows, and then I get to kind of just make a decision on the fly of what I want to do with this little comb, and it's got 2 different tools in it. I don't know what it is about that, but it makes it feel easier in my life than something like the Refi that's like, you know, a Swiss Army knife of different things I can do. So I also just really dig the look of it. It's so glossy. I love a glossy brow because I love to fill my brows in, but then get that definition, and to have the eyebrow then be something that's so defined and so like not blurry. I love it. I love the contrast. It's like how I love having a really glossy lip.
Yeah, and about the brow gel or the whole like brow technique, I think I am liking how they're a little bit more feathery than normal, maybe, without being like super laminated. Granted, we use different products, but yeah. And the eyeshadow palette, I have been enjoying it. So if you like the color story, I mean, some of these shades are pretty crumbly is kind of my biggest, I I guess, beef with them. But yeah, there's some interesting colors in here, and I appreciated following along with Kackie because I don't know if I would have kind of combined Fleur and Liberty together. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, so I appreciate the inspiration to do something a little bit different with this one.
But man, Starlight really set this look off, didn't it? I am so in love with her lid luster formula. And she's just been dialing the shades in lately. And initially I had misgivings about this because I was like, it's not green. I thought it was gonna be green. And it's just this really perfect gold.
Yeah, and here she talks about, she thought it was gonna be green. And that's, I guess, based on the same pictures, I probably pulled out this one. So I'm not sure how close I ended up coming to Starlight. I do definitely wanna place a Victoria Beckham order at some point and try out some of her formulas. I've just been kind of, I don't know, waiting for a sale or something like that.
And it makes my brown eyes pop. It like brings out the gold that's in my eyes, if there is any. It's greater than the sum of its parts, I think, is what I'm trying to say. And for that reason, like, I just keep coming back to it and it lives in my mind palace.
Get out, I need to go to my mind palace.
And same goes for her cocoa liner, which is what I use in just about every video and I never mention it. So yeah, use the cocoa liner today, and I also used my Thrive mascara. I have misplaced what you saw me looking for was my eyelash curler. I have no idea where it is, but it's okay. I have enough kind of natural curl to my eyelashes.
I don't. Mine goes straight down.
And the brown mascara just makes everything look so much softer. So yeah, I think that this is all gonna kind of settle in, and I'm gonna be able to like wear it for the rest of the day without feeling self-conscious. But the kind of cakiness on my cheeks and the way that the pores are, it's looking a little bit draggy saggy. Not my favorite, not my favorite. And that's also a product of going cream powder, which is what I did. That's what happens, is you start to make this weird kind of emulsion, and I pushed the limits of that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
All right, and there we come to the end of this video. So yeah, what Kackie was saying about, you know, the kind of heaviness and cakiness, like granted, I skipped a couple of the steps that she did towards the end there because, you know, I felt like I had enough. I'm thinking of removing this makeup and like reapplying different makeup before I go out to dinner. I don't know. I think it looks okay, probably, especially if I changed out the lip. It feels a little heavy, I think is, you know, so I'm just not sure whether I want to feel this for the rest of the night. It's not so much the look, although, I don't know, I don't typically wear this kind of olivey green type eye look. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it interesting, kind of what I observed as well. And if you aren't already subscribed, please make sure to do so down below, and also subscribe, of course, to Hope Miss Tom and Kackie. And until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, I forgot. Told you I would put in these earrings. All right, so now I think we're done. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.